Well, hello there, little Anthony. Welcome to WJRZ.
Hey, what's up?
Tell us about the new book called My Journey, My Destiny, but with you and Arlene Krieger.
Yeah, Arlene Krieger was the one that really influenced me. I just had met her. She came to the show, and she said, "I'm a writer, and I have this. I do business with this publishing company out of Washington D.C. It's a mid-range publishing company, Mascot Books, publishers." And then she convinced me. When I met her, she said, "Oh, here's my card. Call me back." And I said, "I don't want to write no book. Everybody writes books. It's like, to me, it was an autobiography, and it's all me books. I did this. I'm very good. I'm smart, and all that kind of stuff. And then that wasn't who I was, and I want to do it. So I didn't call her for 2 months, and it just happened. My son Tony, who's my business manager, I don't know, he heard about it, and he says, "Hey, did you ever get in touch with that lady, Arlene Krieger?" I said, "Who?" "The one that talked about a book." "No, I didn't." He says, "Well, you have a number?" I guess I'll look for it. And I found it. And I called her. And she was quite an interesting lady. And one thing led to another, and I met her, and we started sitting down. And it was so simple. I would just talk, tell stories, just like I do all the time. And she would sit there, and she had a computer and everything. And she would, if I say something, she said, "You mean you did what? Yeah, this would happen and that happened." And for 6 to 7 months, 2 times a week, I would sit in her house and go over these things and rehash them out. And she was just taking all these notes. And then after a while, it got very deep. And sometimes I would cry. Because what I found out doing that is very therapeutic. And I started talking about things that I didn't want to deal with. Or was gone, or was finished. So I didn't think about it. And so when it would come up, maybe my relationship with my aunts, my son, Casey, who passed away at 26, my brothers, it just brought those memories back that were painful. Do you know, I lost my entire immediate family within a 10-year period. So now I got to relive those emotions and feelings I had back then.
Well, so I'm sure one of the happiest moments was your induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That was good. And, people like Paul Simon and Billy Joel, all these cats really rooted for us to be in there. We didn't have any Grammys because when we started, there wasn't no Grammys. You know what I mean? So we didn't have that kind of thing that would qualify us to get into anybody's Hall of Fame. But what happened was, Billy Joel said it better than anybody, it's your body of work. When you look back and you see, we sold over 22 million records, maybe more.
And can we talk about some of those records in particular?
Oh, there's lots of them. Tears on My Pillow.
Well, Tears on My Pillow you sang just this past week on The View. Very, very nicely.
Oh, you saw that? Yeah. That was fun with Whoopi and Rosie Perez, all them cats. It was really, really, really nice. Yeah, it did. Actually, they asked us what songs, give us 3 songs that you would do. I said, I gave them 3 songs. Tears on My Pillow, Go Out of My Head, It Hurt So Bad. And they said, you know what? I think Whoopi wants Tears on My Pillow because that's what influenced her as a young lady coming up in New York.
Speaking of influences, who were yours?
Oh, my Lord. I have so many. You got a day? I mean, it's...
Well, just in the neighborhood, all the music that was...
Singers, it was Nat Cole, Ella Fitzgerald, Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers, the Flamingos, the Moonglows, love Sammy Davis, Sinatra. Actually, Sinatra was the biggest influence over me musically. I just was fascinated with the guy's voice. I was fascinated with his story. It was similar, somewhat similar. His mother, what was her name? It was cute. Kitty? And so I started really investigating this guy, reading stuff on him and stuff. And as life is in my journey and destiny, I got to meet his daughter, Nancy. So she told me more stuff. And actually, Sinatra was the guy that got me out of a bad record deal. He didn't know me, and I knew he was Sinatra. But he was also Don Costa's guy Don Costa was his guy, and Don Costa was my boss at DCP when we were recording "Going Out of My Head Hurt So Bad" and all those wonderful songs. And when we couldn't record because I had a contract with Roulette Records, and the president of that company was called Morris Levy. And Morris Levy was one of the most brutal people in show business. I mean, he was a bad man.
Tommy James wrote a book about him.
Tommy James. Me and Tommy talked about it. We both got thrown out of the office.
Oh, yeah.
We got given the good company. Yeah. And so when Don Costa said, look, I'll call you back in a few days. And he calls me back and he says, I got your contract. I'm going, what? So I didn't know how you did it. Who cared? I was out, you know? And the year later, I don't know, in some conversation with Teddy Randazzo, I said, how did Don get that contract from Merce Levy? He said, no, he said it was Sinatra. Don called Sinatra and played the record. So Sinatra said, tell the kid he sings good.
Wow, what a compliment,
and
huh?
He made a call to his friends. We all know that. His friends were. I was out of the contract. So there you go.
Now, is it true that the name Little Anthony came from Alan Freed?
Yes. I mean, the legend is, I don't know, I wasn't there. The record promoter went in and gave him the record, and he was listening. It's listening day, they call it, listening day. And he heard the song. He said, wow, that's really good. That girl sure can sing. And the guy said, oh, that's not a girl. That's a guy. He said, well, wow, he must be very little. Well, what's his name? It's Anthony, Jerome Anthony Gordine, whatever he said. Little Anthony. He just started saying it on radio. They had to reprint the records, you know, because it said Imperials.
I have the first one that says simply the Imperials on
the Imperials.
End Records.
End
Yeah.
Records. Right.
How about the flip side of Tears on My Pillow?
Two People in the World was really the A. We thought that was going to be the A side. It was great. It was a hit record on its own. We had two-sided hit. You can't do that today. That's not going to happen. But
You can't flip over a CD.
no, you can't flip a CD over. So those days we had the 45s, you know, the 78s and stuff. And so that was the main song. But, you know, you got to have a B-side. So we couldn't find anything. So he said, hey, you know that song I played for you some weeks ago? Whatever, I don't remember. But he said, Tears on My Pillow. And I go, yeah, I got it, but I didn't think anything about it. He didn't push us about it. And the guys didn't really know the song. So we were in the studio, and he said, look, I'm going to give the band a break, and I want you to go in a room, and I want you to get that song right. I knew the melody, but he wrote down the lyrics for me to read. So, you know, and the group was struggling in the room trying to figure out what to put back there. So they noticed that another song was similar, called Earth Angel by the Penguins. And it had a background the same as that we did, called Ooh, 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 exactly the same. So in desperation, maybe even panic, they took that and then meshed it into Tears in My Pillow, and the rest is history.
And how about a song that you always say on stage that you don't like, Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Bob?
Oh, look, everybody gets one of those songs. I don't care who it was, Sinatra, Elvis, everybody sings a novelty song sooner or later in your career. And that was our turn. And I didn't want my friends to hear a song like that. We thought it was really ditzy, you know? We're doing all this heavy stuff and good stuff and that. But go to show you, you don't know. Mr. Goldner, who was a great record man, had wonderful ear for music, obviously, because he found Frankie Lyman, he found the Isley Brothers, you know, he found the Dubs, he found these people. And he said, I want you to sing that. So I said, oh, man. All the guys in the group said, it's ditzy. It's like... He said, I sing the song. He had a hunch, and he was right, because the song took off. And you know who bought those songs? Kids, 7, 10, 12 years, 11 years, I don't know.
And they still love the song today.
They today grew up to be shakers and movers in the world. Mr. Colin Powell, John Myers, Joint Chiefs of Staff during the first Bush, I think, situation, President Bush, first one. And... you know, and you just amazed when you see these people get up when you sing the song. Actually, we got a note that came backstage at a benefit in Washington, D.C., and these people were there. And all these senators and everybody came backstage. A lot of them came back. And they started telling me, you know, you came to my college in 1968 and 66 and all these ones, you know. And I'm going, wow, you don't imagine that you're influencing these kind of people with your music. You know, you're just doing a gig. You're gigging. you know.
Now, the name Imperials, were you named for the car, the Chrysler Imperial, or was it something
Yes.
else?
No, he was. There was a gentleman up at N Record called Mr. Lou Galley. He was the promoter, our public relations man, and so he didn't like the name Chester's. So he said, "I got to think of something." He looked out the window. He saw coming in, and that was it. And they started calling me the Imperials because it was an Imperial Chrysler or something.
Well, when you
Gotta
were
wrap you up.
when you were named the Chesters, was there any confusion with the Jesters?
Not really. No.
Gotta go, Bob.
Oh, okay. I had so
Sorry
much
about that, man.
I had so much more to ask you.
I can imagine. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Wrap it up.
Thank you, Anthony. Can I just quickly get an ID? Hi, this is Little Anthony, and you're listening to Bob O'Brien.
Yeah. Hi, this is Little Anthony, and you're listening to Bob O'Brien.
Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck.
Bye.